Good evening, everyone. I'm completely, very, very randomly have no makeup on the me. This is me. I am coming to you, and you don't even know who I am. And I'm coming to you without any makeup on. This is me. This is me. This is me. And this is my messy room. And you know what? It's okay because we're not going to put airs on, right? This is the messiness that is called life. And so let me reintroduce myself. My name is Kaylee, and a few years ago, and I apologize in advance. I just ate, and so I'm. But anyway, a few years ago, I started a channel called Out of the Forest. And my intention at the time, I was really in a really great space at that point. Um, I had changed my diet. I had been doing keto, which is basically a high fat, low carb diet. And it was miraculous for me. And I won't go into the reasons why, but it was. I'm 53. I am in menopause. Um, and I have had a history of anxiety and depression and ADHD. And I started to gain weight. I was dealing with chronic fatigue. And a friend at the time told me that she was on doing keto. And I said, well, let me try this. Looked into it and I started to do it. And I was very committed. And I actually lost like 20, 30 pounds initially. But more importantly, and I apologize sincerely. I know that's really irritating. Because I'm not doing keto right now. um, that it changed my mood miraculously. I mean, it was astounding how well um, my mood changed. And I'll get into that at a later thing. I mean, I was driving down a road, and for the first time, probably in my entire life, and again, I'm like 53, this was a couple of years ago, I was like, I'm not scared anymore. I'm not scared of what life is going to throw at me, right? Which is amazing for someone who's been through anxiety. So, um, fast forward, pandemic hit, and kind of spun out. I stumbled big time. I think maybe a lot of people. I don't want to assume that everybody did, um, but I did. I spun out. But it's been a journey, and I've kind of peeled back yet another layer of my experience on this plane of existence. And it hasn't been all that great, quite frankly. It's been really, really rough. And I apologize. Um, so we are now coming towards the end and the close of 2021, and I am still deep in the thick of it. I am not out of it by any means. And it is amazing that I just decided I'm just going to come on here and do it on here. I have been doing very private, no one watches kind of YouTube live bloggy train of. And again, I'm sorry. This always happens. I think this might be a nervous reaction. Not a great introduction, like, oh, hi, who is this woman? She has no makeup on and she's coughing, clearing her throat every 2 minutes. Oh my God. Um, but I mean, if you've looked at my other videos on my channel, you can kind of get an idea of what I, a lot of the stuff that I actually had were experimental films, and I'll go into that as well. But my intention again was with this channel was to talk about getting out of the proverbial forest. And I have nothing against forests. I think they're great. They're wonderful. I love nature. I love the outdoors. They're wonderful. But when we're lost in nature, like when we're lost out in the wilderness, it can be a scary place. We might not have a map. We might not know how to find food. We might not be successful in building a fire. We might not be able to, it might be raining all the time, and so we can't build a fire. So, it's a journey a lot of the times. It's a matter of survival to get out of that forest to a place where we can actually survive and thrive. So maybe it's not the best description for a channel, but it's something I came up with, so I'm sticking to it. Um, so yeah, the pandemic really kind of knocked me for a loop, and I'm still coming out of it. So just a really quick review. I I was originally diagnosed at age 10 with severe anxiety neurosis. Uh, that was in like 1978. And by 1980, I had attention deficit disorder. I know this because I was prescribed Ritalin and Dexedrine. This was an era. So I'm like, every time I'm on any kind of group for ADHD, I I feel like I'm the only woman who is actually one of the oldest people that in existence that actually had been diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. That was again like by 1980. I had attention deficit. I mean, there were boys that were, but it's very rare. Like, you know, mostly people like, oh, 20 years ago. Oh yeah, I was diagnosed. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I was diagnosed by 1980. So I grew up with it, with the understanding that I had a attention deficit disorder. I understood the way my life was in school. I was very lucky. I was very blessed, quote unquote. Um, my and this is something I want to talk about because I think it's really important. Um, my yeah, the whole there's so much stuff I want to talk about. Um, but I was raised by a single mother, and my father lived in Texas, and my mother was a doctor in Ohio, in southwestern Ohio, and that's a whole thing I want to unpack. Just about generational trauma, generational mental health stuff. I mean, there's just so much stuff I want to talk about in my journey. But she did her best, and I love my parents. They didn't abuse me, but I'll get into that in another story. So, um, and see, now I'm having a brain fart. This is where I'm at right now in my life. I'm amazed that I'm getting on here and talking about this. I have been in massive zombie mode. I don't know if it's fall allergies or whatever, but sometimes I kind of just totally blank. So I apologize. Um, so I started this channel. I wanted to tell my story, and so diagnosed by 1980 with attention deficit disorder. So I lived my entire life with this knowledge that I had this. And I thought, oh, kids grow out of it. You'll grow out of it by college. I kind of stumbled in college. They realized, oh, maybe not. So they put me back on Ritalin. I still had anxiety, still had depression, and the whole 9 yards. So fast forward to 2020, kind of threw me for a loop. I had been running and running and running and running and running and running, very busy at work, and then the pandemic hit, and I thought, oh, this should be interesting, a novel. And it was for a time, but there's just a lot of stressors in my life, and I ended up getting then diagnosed by August of last year with borderline personality disorder. And that really threw me into a tailspin. I was like, what? Um, it is been it's been a journey, and I'm not through it. I'm really not. Yeah. So and with all the stuff that's going on in our world right now, there's been a lot more discussion about mental health. A lot of celebrities, a lot of athletes talking about their mental health issues. And I really want to keep that conversation going. And I want to keep that conversation sincere and authentic rather than having it be some commodified pile of, pardon French, bullshit that is eventually I know is going to happen. That everyone's going to jump the bandwagon. They're going to try and monetize their channel. They're going to do this. And of course, yeah, sure, I've monetized my channel. I mean, I don't fault people necessarily for that, but you know what I mean. They're going to commodify it. They're going to like market it them, the whole 9 yards. And I mean, I want things to be authentic and sincere and have a real connection, because I think that there are some really serious issues and cracks in our society and in the world that we live in that need to be addressed, and the only way that we're going to move through this is by actually having good conversations about them. I don't want to see these conversations hijacked by a certain few that basically spin the narrative to a certain thing to basically make it look trendy or popular. I think that's going to be a horrible thing. And unfortunately, I feel like it's going to happen anyway, but I'm just putting that out there that I really think that it's really important to have an authentic conversation about mental health, because there isn't a one size fits all description or narrative about what the fuck it is. Okay. I actually, speaking about cussing for a minute, just let me, I'm on a group on Facebook and I actually got a post um, uh, removed that I wanted to post because I said the word shit. They have rules. They can, I guess. But I didn't attack anybody. They said, well, you violated our rules. And I was like, because I was talking about, oh yeah, that's like shit, just generally, wasn't saying you or a person is shit, a piece of shit. I just said shit, right? And they wanted to remove it because that language was offensive. And I'm like, okay, if you're offended by language, and they said I wasn't civil, and I'm like, how was I not civil? I mean, I wasn't attacking anybody. The language was not directed at anybody. I agree. I think we do need to be civil with each other. I think that we need to understand how to have good conversations with people. I think that we need to have authentic conversations. We have to understand how about logical fallacies and about how to understand fallacious reasoning in our arguments. And that's another conversation as well I want to talk about. Um, but I don't think that we're authentic. I don't think that we're authentic with ourselves. I don't think we're authentic with other people. And if we're self censoring all the time because, oh my God, we might be offending somebody. I mean, I don't go out intentionally trying to harm anybody or to manipulate anybody or to, beat anybody down. That is not my intention. But my experience is my experience. And if I struggle a lot of times with words and how to describe my experiences. And we need to be able to trust each other that we're not harming each other. We're not going out to try and harm each other. I know that there are people that are out there that are doing that right now. Fuck them. Fuck them. We need to be able to reclaim that space and to be able to have a genuine, authentic conversation and talk about it very sincerely and honestly. And sometimes the language may be coarse. Sometimes the language may be, we might struggle through how to describe our experiences or how to describe a situation. And we need to be able to have the quote unquote safe space to be able to express ourselves in that way. And I feel like we're increasingly not allowed to do that. We're just like, from every angle, it's just like, it's so heinous. I mean, there's so many tendrils of what is going on in my head right now about how I feel, just conversation. And because I think everything is intertwined. I think how our mental health is affected by our society at large, at the world at large, what uh, the systems that we live in, the societies that we live in, how we're governed, how we're schooled, how we're raised, all those things impact our mental health. We may be born with um, mental health conditions that we don't necessarily have a really good handle on, and they're aggravated by externalities that um, that that trigger and just constantly are rubbing it raw, and that we can't really ever get a handle on it. And I really honestly, and this sounds conspiratorial, but I believe that our society is seriously run by a lot of psychopaths and narcissists and sociopaths, because they have the ability to be able to run through and just do whatever, and things don't really affect them. And if you are a sensitive, empathic individual, you aren't going to be running out and harming other people or trying to steal from other people or trying to gain dominance over other people. And so all these dynamics are going on in our society, and they're aggravating our mental health conditions. And it's really bad. So anyway, I'm going off onto like tangent land, but there's a lot of stuff that I would hope that I would be able to talk about. Um, I need to kind of get the thing down. I just got a bug up my ass and decided to reintroduce myself. Maybe I can get my stuff together and be able to really put this channel back on track, because I think we really need it right now. I really do. I feel like the pandemic is still in a limbo space. On I live in the States, and where I'm living, it feels like it's kind of winding down. But then, like, I'm having to kind of go back into work a lot more. But then I'm trying to go out and do activities, and I'm kind of cautioned about, well, is it safe? That has really spun me out because I'm kind of an ambivert. I am the kind of person who I know that it's important for me to be able to connect with other human beings, to be able to have some kind of a social interaction with other human beings. I sometimes get very tired from those interactions, and I have to kind of go back into my cave and retreat and refuel. But I like to go out and interact with people. I like to meet with new people. I like to experience things. I don't want to sit in my house all day long. I really don't. Um, I just don't think that is healthy. I mean, I know people are like, well, people are assholes, so I'm just going to stay in my little cave forever and never go out again. And I just think that's so sad. I mean, I really do, because it really is not good. I mean, it's fine if you need to regroup and to be able to kind of refuel, but the fact that more and more people are like, yeah, I'm just going to wear my hoodie and I'm just going to kind of like curl up into this ball and just never talk to anybody ever again is disturbing to me, because it's a sign that society is breaking down, and it bothers me. And that's a conversation I want to talk about. So anyway, um welcome. I think 20 minutes is long enough. So I hope you all stay tuned. Again, this is a very rough introduction. I can't believe I mustered this much energy to be able to come on here today. But I thought, well, whatever. That's how you start things. I was actually, and I want to put a shout out. There's another creator. She doesn't have very many likes on her page. Like she's just getting started. And she's a very inspirational, seemingly very grounded person. I'll mention her later on. And I just watched her video, and she did a video about she's very linear and she's very grounded, unlike me, who's like blah blah blah. But she was talking about journaling and about how to journal properly. I don't I'm putting that in quotations because, but I thought that her thoughts were very interesting. And basically, I'll put this out here. Her thoughts were like, I last couple years, my journaling has sucked because my mental health has been so bad that I've really struggled to try and get my thoughts from here onto paper. I used to be a lot more avid of a letter writer than I am now. I'm trying to get back into that because I used to do a lot of snail mail letter writing. And I want to get back into that. And I really advocate for that. I really am like, yay, yeah, write letters. Um, and I used to be a lot more of an avid journal writer. And my brain has really just atrophied in this area. And so I've really struggled with it. And I do bullet journaling because I have ADHD. But she said these are some of the kind of points. Now, I have followed Julia Cameron's 3-page brain dumps. I think actually they're fine. But this woman stated that journaling, and I guess she's talking about journaling as a means to transformation, really shouldn't be brain dumps. That we shouldn't necessarily just have them be brain dumps filled with negative ranting. That those aren't really very useful. And I thought, maybe she's right. Now, she is a witch, and this is another thing. I am pagan. I don't necessarily call myself a witch, but maybe I am. I've been very agnostic lately. Um, and so and this is another conversation. I need to just do a whole series on mental health and manifestation. And maybe that's a good title, mental health and manifestation. But so she said that she doesn't agree that the 3-page brain dump is a very productive way of journaling, and that she had been using them she was going to intentionally review past journal entries, to kind of diagnose or to review them to kind of see what she needed to kind of work on. And so the other thing is that she said was that a journal is a tool, not a solution. That a lot of self-help, new agey people talk about it going, oh, it's a solution. Journal, 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 journal. But why are you journaling? How are you journaling? Is journaling really being productive for you? So I thought that was an interesting point of view that she had. And then finally, the one change that she had made is that she originally had been saying to herself, what can I do to change this when you're reviewing any kind of situation you're journaling about? So you may have a problem in your life and you journal about it. And you might state to yourself, what can I do to change this situation? And she said that she added just one word. And it was basically this: what can I do today to change this? Not what can I do to change this, but what can I do today? So putting it more into an immediate centered place, not, amebically in the future, okay, well, it's somewhere out there floating around. It's what can I do today? Kind of focusing you back onto an action step. And I thought that's a really interesting point. So some things that kind of inspired me to kind of get on here and go, maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to get back on here, start the conversation again, and really kind of refocus my thoughts because I feel, um, to be quite honest, I have wanted to do a lot more videos and a lot more content, but my mental health has been so poor that I felt like I can't get on video or to create anything in the state I'm at. But, like, oh man, I'm too depressed. I'm too sad. I'm too angry. I'm too mentally unstructured. Uh, and that has stopped me from getting out and creating content. And at the same time, I'm thinking, but I really want to start this conversation. Well, I live in a very isolated area. So, And I've cut off a lot of my Facebook content, like, my Facebook quote unquote friends. Um, and there's a lot of other stuff that's going on in my life that I take care of a cat community. That's another story. Had used to make, and I want to start doing this again, create and make jewelry. I do make jewelry, but I haven't for a really long time. I create art. I haven't done it for a really long time. And so we always say, well, when I get into a better mental health state, or when I'm in a better state to be able to deal with this, then I'll deal with it. And like, I'm thinking, oh man, I've just got too much on my plate. I can't create. I can't go and do a video. I can't make my jewelry. I can't create my art because I'm in a mental state that is not conducive to that. And I realized, well, you can always say that. When am I going to get out of that? Maybe it might be 5 years from now. Am I just not going to do anything because I'm not in this perfect state of mind and in this perfect presentation that I'm going to show you my warts and all? Um, and I think that it's really important to say, hey, this is me, warts and all. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay. You just got to pick it up and start doing it again. So that was my choice. That was my choice. Very split second. I didn't think about this until within the last 30 minutes, quite frankly. Literally, probably was the last 30 to 40 minutes that I thought, I'm going to go out and do a video. So here I am. We're on to 2647. So I'll see you again hopefully soon. I'm going to be brave and I'm going to do this on YouTube. And instead of hiding away on Facebook, and hopefully maybe I'll get a little bit more um, followers, maybe more people who want to have a conversation. I welcome it. And hopefully we can help each other in getting through the forest. All right. You have a nice evening and have a great week. Thanks. And I'm going to figure out how to do this because this is different than Facebook. Okay. All right. I got to go over here because I got my camera is right here and I have to go. Oh, okay. There's the button. Okay. So I'm going to end the stream. All right. Thanks. Have a great week. Bye. Okay. All right.